It's hollow on the inside. Hold on. They're crunchy. Yeah, I got bangs and I don't fully comprehend like what to do to them. So, okay. Today we're going to be making senbei crackers, Japanese rice crackers. I thought it was particularly an easy recipe, so we played around with it a little bit. We're going to do the whole thing with brown rice, which is really fun. Typically, it's really just mashed up rice that you stick into the oven. You don't need any... Ooh, can you hear that? That's really pretty. It's the call to prayer. Yeah, I don't know if you can hear that. So typically, what you do is you actually just stick it into, hold on, okay. Why I like this recipe is you don't need any oil. You have the rice, you stick it into the oven, and then it crisps up that way. Typical kind of flavoring ingredients is usually mirin, for kind of like your sugar flavor, and then some soy sauce, and then you mix it together. And sometimes people will put sugar in it as well. I thought that this time, because I love rice crackers, so I've had some with black sesame in it. I thought we could do that, you know, roll to our own beat, play to our own drum. And then I have some perilla leaves. So I thought maybe I could do like perilla and black sesame. I thought it'd be really good. I think you would think that too. So, and then of course, because we're working with brown rice, arsenic is going to be an issue. So you want to make sure to soak it in plenty of water for overnight. So we're going to make the glaze first. I've made like 3 times the amount of rice, so there's going to be a lot of crackers. So maybe I should make 3 times the amount of sauce. I'm not sure. Let's do 2 times first, because it seems like it's going to be a lot. So I have 2 tablespoons of, maybe 3, tablespoons of soy sauce. Soy sauce is so different. Like different brands, like some brands put sugar in it already, some brands don't. Some brands are like really salty, some brands are not. I always see like reduced sodium soy sauce, and I'm like, why would you ever buy that? Because it's just, I just feel like it's like water. Like I will water it down myself kind of thing. I'm sure that there's more to it than that, but so anyways, what I mean is taste your sauce. See if like it's to the saltiness level that you like, if it's to the sweetness level, and then like adjust it with some water afterwards. And then let's do a teaspoon of mirin, and then a teaspoon of, I'm gonna go with date sugar, but let's try it first. So with mirin is a Japanese sweet rice wine, and so what they've done is they've fermented it, where the rice has broken down, like all the starches have been broken down, and it's turned into sugar, so it's actually sweet, but like a little bit alcohol-y, because it is still kind of like a rice wine thing. So I have this one where it is made with brown rice, and that's nice, but you know, you can do whatever. And then the recipe that I saw had you put in some additional sugar, because I think that this is going to be really salty already. So what I have here, let's see if it'll work, is going to be, let's see, what do I want to do? Like 1.5 teaspoons of sugar, but again, you have to try it out. So what I have here is just some date sugar, and date sugar is it's just dates that people have dried and dehydrated, and then they pulverize it. So essentially this is powdered dates, okay? Sometimes my date sugar gets kind of lumpy, but this is one where you can certainly take like 1 or 2 dates, put in a little bit of water, stick it into the microwave, and then just mash it up afterwards, and it'll be the same thing, okay? So let me just taste this. Really salty. So I would say that I would add probably more mirin or just like a little bit more sugar. I might even dilute this with a bit of water. This is really salty. I don't know. So yeah, do it, but do it according to your own soy sauce and your own kind of seasonings. Okay, so now we are going to add, so I have some brown rice flour. And then to that, I have just a little bit of boiling water. And I think that the idea was to kind of get that going into a paste so that it would help to stick the rice together. But I preempted that because I only actually had brown glutinous rice. I only had brown glutinous rice, and I think it works a little bit better here because it already has that like sticky power. If I did have just short grain brown rice, I think I would probably just do half-half. I think that the stickiness of the glutinous rice helps stick all of that together, but I also really appreciate kind of the harder consistency of just like a short grain brown rice. So because you're making these like handmade, maybe you want to see little pieces of, you know, rice still there. So I'm just gonna mash this up a little bit just until it comes together. And then I'm going to add my black sesame and then perilla leaves, I think. Just by eyeball, maybe like 2 tablespoons. And then I froze this, so these are perilla leaves. You might want to wear gloves, or like they might want to oil their hands, but I actually think, so I have pan, parchment paper. If you just have like a cookie scoop, I love cookie scoops. I love standardizing sizes of things. And the cookie scoop might be, it's a little bit big. I have the purple scoop. So these are going to be fairly bigger crackers, but you can just take, you know, like a little spoon or something. And then with rice, if it ever gets too sticky, you just kind of, you know, always have a bit of water whenever you're working with like sticky rice, mochi. It helps a lot. Okay. So now we flatten our pieces of cookie. So I've seen people like wear gloves for this and then put on like a little bit of vegetable oil, but I don't think that you need to do that. So with a lot of like mochi sticky rice, what you always should have is just a cup of water by your side. And if you just wet your hands in between, you can just press them down, okay? And I thought what I would do is to just take a ramekin and some water, and then that way I can have kind of like a more flatter press, okay? But you can always use your fingers. They are your best tools. And let's see if that works. Yeah, that totally works. It's on the edge of not working, but it totally works. Maybe, yeah, spin it. Make sure to dip it into the water each time. so these are they now. You want to stick them into a 200-degree Celsius oven 10 minutes. Then we flip them around. We're gonna brush them with our sauce and then put them back in for another 15. Now, it's very oven dependent, right? Like sometimes people's ovens are hotter. I have mine that can be an air fryer as well, so this might go a little bit quicker. So, you know, just monitor it your first time. And also it depends on how thinly you've pressed each cookie. So each cracker. So yeah, just test it out your first time. Just make sure that nothing is burnt. And yeah, we shall see, okay? So these crackers, instead of being 10-15 minutes, these actually have been in there for 25. So perhaps some are just thicker. Just picked up like a slightly brown color on it. I would put these in for an additional 10 minutes and then take it from there and just kind of like feel the cracker. Because there are dates in here, this could burn quicker, so that's something to note as well. Here they are. Some of them actually, because I think the rice was thicker, so it actually like puffed up, which is really nice because it's hollow on the inside. Hold on. They're crunchy. Let me just try. It's really good. Very crunchy though. I actually had to re-toast some of these because if you leave it out and don't put it into like kind of like an airtight container, the moisture from the outside kind of gets in, and then plus there's the sauce, so sometimes that can soften up the rice as well. So just keep that in mind. Eat it fresh or put it into an airtight container. Taste-wise, it's really nice. The rice and the sesame, it's crunchy, but it is crunchy in that kind of like toasted way. It's not deep fried, so it's a little bit like a crispy, harder crunchy. Okay, which really works for me. I think that flavor-wise, I actually had to do 2 layers of this because when I first took it out of the oven and I tried it, I kind of thought that the sauce went away quicker, so I quickly kind of brushed a second layer on and then put it back into the oven, and I think that that works. I'm getting a little bit of the black sesame. I'm not really, maybe that is the perilla or the shiso, but it's just a little bit, so I don't think that the shiso comes out as prominently. But definitely the black sesame, I like it because it does add an additional kind of crunch to it. And then, yeah, the topping is nice. You can't tell that it's not sugar. And you can't tell that there are like pulverized dates in there as well. I do think that with the dates, it probably will have a tendency to like burn a bit more. So definitely, you know, look out for that. In terms of the process of making it, these guys were thicker for sure than the recipe that I had seen. So I actually put it in first side, 25 minutes at 190, which I would lower down to 180 because I don't want anything to burn. And I did 25 minutes, just one side, before I could easily just, you know, kind of flip it over. Any earlier than that, and these guys stuck to the parchment paper. But it's really going to depend on the rice that you use. It's going to depend on the thickness of what you do. So you're just going to have to monitor it. Like the first time, you're going to just have to try it out, write down, you know, the times and the notes of when you can flip it over. I do think that because these took longer to really crisp up, I would recommend after you do one side, flip it over and do the other side until it's pretty much crunchy before you turn it over again and then glaze that top bit. The reason is, so in terms of aesthetics, I actually think that the side that was initially on top kind of rises a little bit. It's prettier when you put the glaze on the actual top side. So that's why I recommend, you know, toasting it 10, 15, 20 minutes on one side, flip it over, get the underside to be crunchy, so it's going to be another 10, 15 minutes or so. Flip it back over, and then brush the glaze on, and then leave it on for another, you know, like 5 minutes in the oven. You're going to have to test this because reason that we're putting on the glaze at the end is so that it doesn't burn, but you're going to have to test this because you don't want, you know, like an overly hard or like burnt rice bottom. So just kind of test it out. But I do think like aesthetically, glazing that top is going to be a lot prettier than kind of glazing the bottom, because when you glaze the bottom, it has that concavity. And it's not as pretty. So, yeah, flavor-wise, it kind of just tastes like sweetened soy sauce, which you can't really go wrong with. It's not too sweet, but it's just like a lightly sweet, lightly salty flavor. And then obviously, you get a lot of texture from just the crunch. Okay. Because you get the whole brown rice, and then you get just kind of little bits of the sesame. Homemade Senbei crackers. Hope you all enjoy. Definitely try to make it. All right, bye.